for athletes who, again, like for athletes and parents who are listening, like what does like life on campus for a Division 1 athlete, or for Division 1 athlete who is part of a program like yourself, right? Top grand finalist type crew. Like, what does that day to day look like? That week to week, what can athletes expect walking it, like their week to look like, or their day to look like, even, right? Like in terms of, and you can keep it more on like the rowing,
Right.
side of things, where it's like we, practicing, at these times, and we do have a strength conditioning staff, and athletes are, maybe required to do this and this, on a weekly basis with studies and stuff like that. Like, what is that day to day for athletes at any age at
Yeah, I
Tennessee?
mean,
What does that day to day look
I
like
think
for
that's
them?
something that actually, to your credit of asking me that, is something, recruits should ask honestly, because schools, not every school is just, set up and arranged the same way. Obviously, in the SEC, Tennessee really believes on the support of the student athlete, and the coaches. It's not just about resources of why you're successful. The coaches actually have to back that, and there has to be a lot of focus on setting up their daily schedules where they have time to go in and go into the training room and use those resources and work with them, and creating an atmosphere on the team where they believe in doing things like that. So that's something that I think, that we really try to work at Tennessee. But you see a lot of those top teams in the country that are getting on the podium or in the top 10 in the country. They're putting a lot of focus on that. So everybody has a different setup, but I do think that they are getting in there. If their academics aren't there, they do have resources in tutoring. They do have academic study hall hours where they're setting up their day. And it's not a lot of schools mandate an exact time, but it's like, hey, let's get in these hours. If you're struggling, let's go get help. Let's get free tutoring. If you have something that's bothering you in your body, let's make sure we're setting up times with your athletic trainers. We're really fortunate here that we have several athletic trainers that are kind of around the clock watching us, and the resources there. So things like that, I think, in their daily lives, in their weekly schedule, we set that up for them. And they have a lot of different point people to go to. They might also, if they're struggling with their nutrition or they're struggling with their sleep, they have a lot of resources to go ask people, not only their coaches, but they have a lot of resources there to go ask. So I think a lot of those top schools are really focusing on kind of getting the athlete to be in their best place. But I think, here at Tennessee, we're really focused on that.
Yeah, and I've had the opportunity to walk the campus of a couple big Power Five type camp or type
Yep.
schools. And what I'm a massive college
Yeah.
football fan, so Tennessee,
Yeah.
that's gotta be a blast to be a part of that in some capacity. But just the resources and the what they do to help position athletes for success, I think, is like unbelievable. Like I went to St. Joe's up here in Philadelphia. I rode there, and I was a walk on there, so it was all brand new to me. But mid major school, but then you kind of go up to the Power Fives, like the Tennessees. Like, I'm sure, and maybe down the line, if I am ever traveling through that area, I can see it for myself. But I'm sure, like, the resources that you guys kind of set up for these athletes, to get to the heights that your team is at, like, there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that is completely unrelated to the sport of
Yeah.
rowing, and
Yeah, no,
right.
absolutely. And you said it. Like, I
Yeah.
think there is a difference between some of the school setups that have those resources. But I think you can't, when you're looking at a school and whether it's going to be successful, and if you're, a young athlete that's looking on where to go to school, just because they have the resources doesn't mean they're going to be successful either. So you have to look at the coaches and the assistant coaches' track records with that success, and make sure that they're always moving forward in the program, and using those resources, or trying to at least move forward, because I think it's a combination of that. But I do think the resources matter, and I think there's a lot of great places that have both. But I think, and they have great academics as well. So I think some people think, oh, I have to go to X school because this is what my parents said is the way to go because it's the best academic school. That's not necessarily true, and it definitely depends on the programs, and definitely depends on the attention they're getting, and also sometimes the resources to balance those classes and balance. Rowing is important too. So I think people are realizing you don't have to go. That name on your degree isn't the most important thing always, and so I think there's a lot of different opportunities out there, and so my advice is to look at everything and make sure there's the resources there to be supported, as well as people surrounding you. It's the people that actually are the most important thing, and it's the relationships and the culture that's built within the team that is a lot more important than even the resources, to be honest.